So what I wanted to start with is, 29th of June 2007, and again, this is not the first smartphone or smart type of device, but that was the date that Apple released its first iPhone. The reason why it's important is, I mean, that's not long ago in terms of, history of things. And, 29th of June, it's coming up as an anniversary date fairly soon. But since that time of a product which was released, and at the time, Apple wasn't doing very well as a company. A lot of people thought, no, this will never work. But now, a few years down the track, there is 650,000 applications available for these devices. If you put that in context of, worldwide, the amount of people developing and spending time writing applications for these types of devices, and that's why, when we look at the presenters here today, most people do have an Android or an iPhone application, which is relevant for what they're trying to do, and is definitely relevant for, what you guys are doing there out in the field. So the next one is 30 billion applications have been downloaded worldwide, and these numbers are only fairly new, though. Apple had a release of a new product just recently, and they released the latest figures as well. But if you look at that, 30 billion applications have been downloaded for iPhones or iPads, and this is just Apple here. There'll be an equivalent sort of size number for your Android devices. That's 3 for every person on Earth. They're staggering numbers when you think about it. So in terms of a technology adoption rate, from something only in 2007, and we're only 5 years later, it's quite amazing if you actually think about it. And that's why I really wanted to sort of highlight, and this is, like I said, it's not an iPhone sort of pitch here, or an Apple pitch here, but it's just an amazing an adoption of it. I was reading an article actually last night which I thought was interesting. In 22 years, Apple as a company sold 55 million PCs, their equivalent PCs. They sold 55 million iPads in 2 years. Okay, 22 years it took to do the first 55 million, and then this type of device, they've obviously found that this one's quite a good little seller. So I mean, that just gives you an idea of where we are these days, and it's things like NBN and communications that's really driving it, and the world out there developing it. So that gives you a bit of a history of where we've actually come from. And the reason why I think it's so amazing, and what I wanted to sort of highlight, is we've got things like GPS tracking for cameras. I mean, my iPhone, which is over here, it's what I carry around with me. It's an 8 megapixel camera, which is not small when you're talking about resolutions of a camera. If you try, and I actually did a bit of a Google search for your normal cameras which have GPS type technologies in them. You're talking $500–600 to be able to take a photo, where if I want to, it's a $2 app, which adds that functionality to the photos that I take here. So that's the sort of stuff that, this sort of, adoption is driving the prices down for some of these technologies that we all use. The other application that I've been playing with recently is one which is real-time image recognition and translation. So what that actually does is it recognises the words on a page and translates it, if needed, into your native language. The reason why I think this is powerful, if you wanted to go to France, all your signs are going to be in French. Rather than actually be able to learn it or have to worry about that language barrier, using these types of devices, you can actually, just have a look at what's actually on the sign or on the menu, and it actually translates it real time into English. If you think about those sorts of technologies, it breaks down some of the language barriers and barriers of travel, and so I mean, and this is just a bit of a an idea of what these devices are available for, and why it's really amazing, and why I really think they have been adopted so quickly. Some of the other things that I've found, and I use these now as almost my primary devices. I've been in the IT industry for 15 years, and then I've been a stalwart of the PC, and that was always what I take around. But now I've actually started changing the way I work as well, and my primary devices is almost becoming my tablet. one of the things I really do like is the location-based awareness. So I can actually tell my phone that remind me when I'm at home to do something. We've all used calendaring before, you know, to set a reminder, but it's just at a time. I might not be running to the schedule that I should be. So I actually use location-based awareness, which says when I'm at home, remind me to do this. So when I go actually home, because it knows where my home is based on GPS coordinates, it says, John, do this. So, I mean, and that's where we're moving to more, you know, intelligent ways of actually using these sorts of devices. The one I wanted to quickly show, and what I'll do is just swap it so the projector is actually looking at my iPhone rather than my iPad.